Open your ears and lube up your butthole. It's time for the What Do We Call It podcast. Now, here's your host. It's Jmann. Welcome to the What Do We Call It podcast. I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
And I want to kick off 2019 with a subject that's going to trigger the shit out of a lot of people.
What better way to start the new year?
Okay. You have a child who's on the autism spectrum.
Yeah, I do.
That's not what this is about, but I'm using it as a reference point because you know what some of the key indicators of somebody who has autism are.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay. So before I get right to the point, have you noticed that part of the problem with sensitivity in our nation is due to people that take things too literal?
Yeah, yeah.
So anytime somebody makes a rather daring joke,
hold on to your butts.
People don't understand that it's in humor. They're not literally mocking the handicapped. They're not praising racism. They're not okay with school shootings. They're not bypassing the seriousness of 9/11.
Yeah, I think we discussed this before in an episode, and it was talking about people just oh fuck, no, my mind just went blank.
Selective outrage?
Right
Selective outrage.
Selective outrage, yeah, I guess.
Well, what I'm getting at is, and I've said this numerous times, laughter is...
It's your laughter is a reaction to something shocking.
Yes, laughter is an involuntary response to an unexpected cognitive stimuli.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay.
Damn me, I can't say it.
One day I will put that in a book. So, if somebody says something really terrible, like makes a joke about abortion, and I laugh about it, it doesn't mean that I think abortion is actually funny. It's that it's something that is not in the appropriate context you would normally associate with something so dark.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So context is key when you're trying to figure out humor. This is what got me in a bunch of trouble at my former job, is that my delivery was too dry, and people couldn't tell I was joking, and then they were also fucking stupid, so they can't see the humor in things.
Makes it seem like that you have to always say, "Oh, I'm just joking," so that people don't take you seriously, which to me ruins humor if you have to constantly say that. That's
the same thing as saying I'm sorry when you accidentally offend somebody. You're not really sorry. You just want them to be okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry your feelings are hurt.
Yeah, I'm sorry indicates you think you did something wrong. And laughing at a joke or thinking something's humorous doesn't mean that you're a bad person, like I've been painted out to be in the past.
Yeah, you have been.
By some very specific people in organizations that I was once employed by. Anyways, what I'm getting at is why so many people have this outrage these days is because they take jokes too literal. They can't separate the fact that what makes a joke is a ridiculous premise. That's a key to a good joke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like abortion. When I just say abortion, is that funny?
The word itself, no.
No.
But there's ways to make it funny.
But if I say clandestine garage bed coat hanger abortion, I've tacked on all this extra context, and you visualize a woman on top of a workbench with her feet tied down, and her husband's got like a metal pokey thing going in her hoo-ha to take care of that baby.
Yeah, it does paint a little bit of a picture of humor, kind of like Stephen Lynch. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
He did a song that was kind of like that. And towards the end of the song, he's like, "As I slowly slide the hanger up your thigh." Because he's talking about getting an abortion. And you could hear the crowd. Some went, "Oh," and others were just laughing.
Right, right. It's okay, but as long as you realize that you go to a comedy show to hear jokes, you don't go to a comedy show to hear a dissertation on women's rights or racial disparities with socioeconomic status.
Wasn't there recently a comedian at a college? Didn't we talk about this?
Yeah, we talked about that. I forget his whole name. It's Namesh something.
Yeah.
Buddy, shut the fuck up! Kicking the ear off and stuff.
People just don't know how to to take a joke of any kind, you know, like you outlying certain kinds of jokes just because you might find it offensive.
So nobody should get to enjoy it then.
Yeah.
Is
Well,
what
I don't
they
like
think.
jokes about abortions. I don't like jokes about retardation. So no one should be allowed to say it. I don't give a fuck what you like and don't like.
Right, it's fucking censorship.
Yeah.
Latest case in point, Louis C.K.
He's back in the news again. Yes, I saw a little blip.
He made a joke about the Parkland school shooting.
I haven't heard this one. What's it about?
Oh my Christ.
Really?
Okay, he made some joke, and I'm just going to paraphrase it.
Okay.
Right? And the joke was about all these fucking kids, like the skinny little white kid, was last, I don't remember, is David Hogg? That annoying
Oh, that
little
kid,
fucking
yeah.
white kid, and then the shaved-headed...
Who wasn't even at the fucking school when it happened.
I don't know.
He wasn't.
I don't know.
His own words.
The point is Louis C.K. is like, so just because you guys were in a school shooting, now I have to listen to what the fuck you have to say? Like you guys are bringing this gospel of truth?
I've heard more than C.K. Lewis say that, yeah. A lot of people said it.
It's the follow-up where he's like, why are you important? You were just smart enough to shove some fat kid in the way as you ran out the door. Well, see, that's fucking funny because it's dark and it's out of context and you would never think. Okay,
That's
that
hilarious.
shit literally happens.
Yeah, probably.
In at least one school shooting, a fat girl got shoved in the way so that a football player could get the fuck out of Dodge. That shit happened. Are you ready for the point of the episode?
Yeah, let's hear this.
Social justice warriors and other snowflakes must obviously be at least a little bit autistic because they don't understand humor or sarcasm.
Heck, probably.
Ta-da!
That is
I know
one
it
of the
was kind
signs. They take it too literal. Some of the jokes I've tried telling my child, he overthinks it and deconstructs it, and then to him it's no longer a joke. It's something he's trying to comprehend.
Right. And here's where I'm going to offer a caveat of humility. I really am starting to question if I have Asperger's syndrome. I fucking am, because I just sometimes people say shit to me and it should be so obvious, and I'm like, I don't get it. I can't tell if they're fucking with me.
That happens to me sometimes too. I always wondered if I had autism or ADHD when I was a kid.
Oh, I know. I got the fucking shit out of ADHD. Oh my god.
I might still have it very, very little. I don't know. I've never been diagnosed, so.
I could be the guy in the movie The Hurt Locker disarming the bomb, and I'm the only one with the knowledge, and I'm like one wire away from done. But if some chick walks by with her tits hanging out, we're dead.
Yeah,
It's fucking over.
it's like, ooh, boom.
So here's why I'm going to drive this point. These people, they hear these jokes that are, I'm going to throw up air quotes, horrible or insensitive. But it's because you can't take yourself out of the literal context of abortion, of school shootings, of racism.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I don't think that black people should be abused or held down in society, or sure as shit, I don't believe they should ever be lynched or killed for being black.
Yeah.
I abhor anything that happened when we had segregation,
Yeah.
but that does not make me above laughing at a racist-ass joke. I'll do it.
Yeah, damn few people wouldn't do it. God, I've seen something in an article today, a couple days ago, how some people on the left, the author of this article was saying how it just seems kind of weird how these people go out in life and they look for everything that's offensive, everything that offends them, and they're just so unhappy with life that they look for that stuff, and then they try to bring other people down with them. You know, I'm miserable, you're going to be miserable too.
Right. They need some commiseration.
Yeah.
Because misery loves company.
Yeah, but they're just miserable with themselves. And I guess I shouldn't even say this is people leaning left. It could be people leaning right too, for all we know. But it's just, that's what it sounds like. It's like, well, I don't really like that. I'm not very happy, so maybe you shouldn't be enjoying that too.
Oh, it definitely transcends political affiliation. 100%. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on or what you believe in. There's just too many butthurt people out there that they should be handing out fucking Folgers coffee can size jars of salve for all the butthurtedness.
Here's the doll. Point on the doll where your feelings got hurt.
Yeah, no shit. But it just seems to me, I'm listening to some Doug Stanhope bits from years ago, because Doug Stanhope tweeted in Louis' defense, Nobody was outraged when I made a school shooting joke back in like 2002 and then also made some crack where I called George W. Bush a cocksucker. Nobody put my face all over Twitter at the time. I don't know if Twitter was around or not too, but the point he's making is we've gotten to this point now where people are just, oh my God, Louis. Like, Louis is going to just be this fucking pariah for all these goddamn social justice warriors and habitual outrage sufferers. No matter what he does, no matter what he says, they're going to look for some modicum of insensitivity in it so that they can rage on about it and cry, woe is me.
They find somebody they dislike and everything that person does is no longer a good thing, even if it is a good thing. You know?
And another dimension that I don't get, I guess I didn't realize until about 5 seconds ago is, just like with the Me Too movement, where people that alleged that they were assaulted, but they just had a bad time, and now have buyer's remorse, you trivialize the suffering of actual rape victims.
Yes. That was another thing that I remember reading a couple articles about.
And if you suffer outrage because you selectively refuse to recognize that jokes that are made that are insensitive are out of their typical context, what you're doing is you're taking away any of the sympathy that I might throw at people that don't understand sarcasm. Let's keep the focus on the people that actually have that as a symptom of a diagnosis, not you who chooses to go out there and fucking, oh my God, I can't believe they did this or they said that, or, you know, like, for how many fucking years did nobody have a problem with the name Cleveland Indians?
Forever?
I mean, there were always people that were pissed off about Redskins or Braves. And yeah, I guess the tomahawk chop can be seen as a little insensitive. But you know what, though? It's a very distinguishable, identifying rally cry they had at those Atlanta baseball games. Mm-hmm. I fucking loved when the Braves were on TV as a kid because I'm doing it with the crowd in the stadium.
Yeah.
Because I felt included.
What did the Twins have? Nothing.
Well, that's a whole fucking rabbit hole. We don't need to go.
Least,
they have nothing on literally every level.
Well, most sports teams. I mean, how many sports teams have something like that? You know, like the chop. I mean, nobody. Not a whole lot. Of all the baseball teams, there's probably that one and who else?
Well, you can't even do the wave anymore because too many people are looking at their phone. They miss out.
Yeah, that's true. That I used to go to football games with my dad, and I waited for the wave. I'm looking for that wave to come around.
Yeah, and now what you got is about 10 people in a whole section doing it. It looks like a couple of fish jumping out of the water by comparison.
Yeah.
Fucking
like, if you're going to sit on your phone, why even bother going to the fucking game?
It's too bad there's not an app that tricks you into walking into traffic.
Oh, you don't need an app for that.
Weed out some of those people, you know? But, so let's say that I made a joke once at work that got me in trouble. And what's funny is they put context onto it for me, all right? This was when the last big Ebola thing hit, right? Mm-hmm. We were making Ebola jokes left, right, and sideways. I'm like, Ebola's old hat. I'm going to go old school and make an AIDS joke. And I made that decision in under a second when I asked my coworker how she's doing. She doesn't look well. She's like, yeah, my throat hurts, but just like in the back on one side. And I'm like, can you get AIDS on only one side of your throat? If I would have said Ebola, it wouldn't have been a fucking issue.
No, it probably would have gone to the doctor.
But because this person got upset at me a few months later and decided to turn in 8 months worth of conversations and flip on me.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you want to talk about stabbing somebody in the fucking back. Imagine if one of your best friends at work decided, suddenly I'm mad at you and I've been keeping notes because I'm pissed off about the last time you got a mutual friend of ours in trouble for sexual harassment.
I actually did have a coworker that tried doing that to everyone else but himself.
Yeah.
He no longer works there.
Good. Fuck that person.
Yeah, fuck that person.
Fuck that person.
For real.
So then when the powers that be got a hold of that joke, they said it was sexual harassment. I said, how do you figure?
Well, AIDS isn't necessarily just an STD.
Yeah, they immediately went, well, it was an AIDS joke, so they thought that you were referencing oral sex. I'm like, that's awfully presumptuous of you, because AIDS is also transmitted by needles, and back in the day, people thought it was on toilet seats, and all manner of shit. Don't assign undue meaning to my humor. You could say it was in poor taste because I was making light of AIDS, But you're forgetting the fact, and I even had to say this, I'm like, jokes have premises that are ridiculous, and that's what inherently makes them humorous, because there's no way someone would get AIDS on one side of their throat. And because you just made me explain that to you, you ruined the joke.
Mm-hmm.
I said this to a man who was very important and made 6 figures a year.
Yeah.
That's how you get to be very important and make 6 figures a year working for the government. You're a humorless, idiotic dick.
That's true.
And our whole country's full of these motherfuckers now.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's just if there's more of them. Maybe there is, because that's what colleges are pumping out now, just overly sensitive babies. But it's maybe they're just getting more of a voice.
Yeah, it's exactly it. As I wanted to walk it back. It's not necessarily that there's more of them. There are so many of them, is what I just said. But honestly, they get the loudest voice because that's what's en vogue, is to claim you're woke and you're not going to laugh at all these terrible things.
I don't think it's that. I have a completely different theory. But
you could say it's not okay to make abortion jokes. Does that end abortion?
No.
If you kick somebody off of a comedy festival for making a joke about being black and gay, does that somehow end the plight of people that are subjugated for the color of their skin or ostracized for having a different sexual orientation?
No.
And I can make fun of Riley Dennis till I'm blue in the face. It's not going to make up for the fact that it's insensitive to make fun of her now that he's a her and has a female penis.
Female penis?
Yeah. I just... Well, were you going to say you have a different theory? Go on with that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at who's in control of most of the media outlets right now. I mean, CNN, MSNBC, and all that. It's very progressive. It's very liberalism. And that's why these people, these snowflakes, these social disorders are getting all the screen time and have the loudest voices. Because there's people in media that agree with them, so they give them the platform to stand on. They give them a microphone and a camera to stand in front of.
If I could paint a stick of dynamite like a microphone, I would go to some fucking Antifa rally and hand off 10 of them while they're lit and just say, quick, talk. It's a hot mic. It's a new game where you got 10 seconds or less to get your point across. Then you got to hot potato that shit to the next person.
That's funny.
Right. It's funny. It's also terrorism and violence against protesters.
Yeah, it's insensitive.
Right, but you're making it literal when I'm not saying let's literally go murder Antifa people.
No, I'm not taking it that way.
Right, but there's people that would be like, that's terrible that you would advocate for violence against Antifa. They're protesting against fascism. You're such a pig. How dare you? You should lose your job and your family and your house and be in the gutter and have to suck dicks for money to buy sandwiches to feed you, and the bread in your stomach would soak up all the cum you'd have to swallow from all the dicks you sucked to get the money to buy the sandwiches in the first place. But even though your belly would be full of semen-soaked bread, you'd still feel empty and hollow inside. All off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's just holy shit.
That's how my brain works.
Mine don't work like that.
Yeah, I don't get to do that very much at my new job. Being a social worker means you don't get to go on these long, fucking weird, sarcastic diatribes because my clients are vulnerable adults.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know? Like, nobody that has fetal alcohol syndrome wants to hear me make a crack about fetal alcohol syndrome.
No, they probably would frown on it.
Right. So
but
really,
they're missing out on so much humor.
Yeah. And probably some spacing on their eyes. Upper lip definition. Google that one.
I'm not. No.
Smooth upper lip region. Look up symptoms of FAS.
No, I'm picturing it in my head, actually. I just didn't want to.
I'm going to chalk this one up as a win for the first episode of 2019.
Welcome to 2019.
Fuck us all.
It's a roller coaster from here.
Interact with the show on Twitter at What Do We Call It? That is at What Do We Call It? You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/group/What Do We Call It podcast show. For the What Do We Call It podcast, I'm Jmann.
And I'm number one fan, Tim.
And that's the end.